believe that as a young woman, if you are yearning to be a leader, to lead, you have to know that leadership begins from within.
Purpose defines everything.
Okay.
Purpose defines it. And when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Good day. This is the Lead Hership podcast. And this podcast is dedicated to empowering and inspiring women in leadership and also nurturing young women who are interested in leadership to impact and to lead. Today, I am here with a wonderful brother who is coming to talk to us on leadership and identity. I have identified that it's a problem when it comes to women in leadership. And because he is deep and he is educated when it comes to leadership, we are going to learn a lot from him. I am Lady Mrs. Judith Swansea Ajay, and I am your host for this program. Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Please, how are you doing?
Very well by the grace of God, and it's always a pleasure to be with you,
Okay,
to see
always
you.
a pleasure
And
to also have
the
you.
wonderful work that you are doing with the young ladies, raising leaders deliberately for our society. It's been a gap for a number of years now, where nobody deliberately brings the next generation of leaders. And we hope that they will turn out right. But for you to be deliberate about impacting them and building them for the future, I think it's a wonderful work that you're doing. And
Thank
God
you
bless for
very
it.
much, and thank you for the commendation. We hope the Lord guides us to do more
He will.
for the kingdom. So, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Okay. I'm Courage Nobi, a husband, a father, a politician, and also a disciple maker.
Okay, thank you so much. And today we are here to talk about leadership and identity. But before we start, I want to give a quote from a mentor I follow from a very long side of the world. And she is Oprah Winfrey. She quotes, "One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to become the leader your purpose requires." And I believe that as a young woman, if you are yearning to be a leader, to lead, you have to know that leadership begins from within. Before you can lead people, you have to lead yourself. And as you lead yourself, you have to be aware of self-awareness. You can't lead without self-awareness.
At all.
You can't lead without being disciplined. You can't lead without being consistent. You can't live without having integrity.
True.
So I believe that with this quote, it is trying to communicate that as a woman in leadership or as a young woman coming up, wanting to lead, you have to start with yourself.
Absolutely.
Preparation is important. So this is our quote for this day. Preparation as a young woman wanting to lead is very important. Before we go on, we start with the agenda for today. Today, we are looking at leadership and identity. And I know that you have acquired a lot of knowledge. You have built when it comes to leadership. And so I want to ask this question, that what truly defines a leader beyond titles and recognition?
Awesome. I think it is actually captured in the opening quotation by Oprah Winfrey. Leadership is primarily about purpose.
Okay.
You know, we live in a society, and for the function of the society, God brings special functionaries, people that He has endowed with certain capacities, for them to guide the rest of the society in the direction that God wants or the kind of aspiration that God has for the society.
Mm.
So that is what we call purpose. So the leadership journey begins first with purpose.
Okay.
With purpose. And so when one does not or has not identified his purpose and he finds himself in leadership, you realize that it does not have the energy, the oomph that is needed to drive it. Because purpose is the definition for every leadership journey or adventure.
Okay.
So the first thing is to discover your purpose as a human being. Why am I here on earth? My proposition is that nobody is here by accident. God deliberately created us for this time, creates an individual for a given society and for a given generation and a family. So from the individual to the family to the society and to the generation, that is the trajectory. So if you spend enough time inquiring of God, he will let you know your place as an individual in the family, in the society, and in the generation. And it is from there that you realize that he has given you the capacity, the innate ability to be concerned about the rest and not just yourself. So leadership by definition is altruistic. Everybody wants to maybe eat, go around, and then go and sleep. But you are concerned about how is everybody else eating? And how is everybody getting educated? How is their health being catered for?
Okay.
That kind of concern forms the basis to let you know that there is some leadership talent or purpose to you. And as you begin to inquire at the place of prayer, you receive more definition about it, more clarity in that where does God want you to be positioned as a leader?
Okay.
So you move from the what, which is the objective or the calling, to the place of the assignment.
Okay.
Where does he want me to function?
Okay.
So for some people, their leadership will be best felt in the family. For others, it will be best felt in their given community.
Okay.
For some, they go beyond their community to the entire generation. And so you need to find out that the place, and then also the time. There's time for everything. So at what point, where is my leadership required? What is the timeline for my leadership journey? You need to know that. And then we come to the last point, which is the how. How does God intend to have me exercise influence? Which is what leadership broadly is about. Mainly leadership is about exercise of influence, but how does God want me to do it? And then you'll be able to do it right and not do what we have seen mostly, which is on the corrupt end.
Okay. Thank you very much. So in one word, how will you define leadership?
Influence.
Influence. When you were speaking, you made mention of without purpose and without vision, one cannot become a leader. Does that mean that without a purpose, one cannot lead at all? Because we have some people that go for positions, or we have people leading, and when you ask them about their visions and even their mission, they have nothing to say. You can even see from their demeanor, from the way they even act, from the way they behave, even in that office, in that space. So I want to go ahead and ask that, can leadership exist without purpose?
Okay. The late Dr. Miles Monroe said, and I quote, that purpose defines everything.
Okay.
Purpose defines it. And when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Okay.
Okay? Purpose defines everything. And when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And so without purpose, your leadership journey has no context. It has no context. Mind you, we spoke about the place, the time, and the how. All of that is a function of purpose. So when you don't know the purpose for your leadership journey, you'll be exercising influence, but in a detrimental manner. Okay, not towards any specific progressive goal. So you find a lot of people, they are very influential, but at the end of the day, they are influencing people into alcoholism, into drug addiction, into hooliganism, all manner of things that are not desirable. Why? Because they've not been able to identify the purpose of the influence that they are manifesting or exercising. So without purpose, your leadership journey will be disastrous. It will be disastrous. And that's why you cannot even put a definition to it. So you ask the person, what's your leadership about? What do you want to do? Why are you leading this team? Where are you guys going? And he can't state it. And the reason he can't state it is because there's no purpose in view. So when purpose is not in view, leadership will be abused. Will be abused. And that's why, for example, you find somebody who is managing an institution, and because purpose is not in view, a young lady comes maybe seeking one opportunity or the other, and they won't even take advantage of them sexually, because he does not know that the reason why he's positioned there or she's positioned there is to help others to thrive. You get it. So without purpose, one's leadership journey will be disastrous. And I think it's the reason why, for where we are in Africa, a lot of our political space finds itself the way it is. There is no purpose in view. So almost everything that people do by way of leadership becomes self-serving. Self-serving. And at the end of the day, the collective interest of the society is sacrificed for individual aggrandizement.
Wow. And so with this, I want to ask the question on visibility. When we take the young Gen Zs coming, you see that a lot of them want to lead. They want to impact, but it's more of visibility.
Yes.
And so I want to ask that many people desire visibility, but few understand responsibility. So how can a young leader or the young leaders coming, how can they prepare for the weight of leadership?
Okay. For probably about the last 10, 15 years, image has become a very big thing. With the advent of social media from 2009 and all of that, image and how one presents himself has become a big thing, because everybody wants to create a certain impression out there. And there's a haste in people to try and create the impression that they are not failing. Yeah, I'm also there. I'm also doing something. I'm also achieving something. It is a phenomenon that everybody whose leadership will be worthwhile must conquer. The haste to be known, the quest for fame is one that you must conquer if your leadership journey will yield any positive results. Because premature exposure has killed many young people.
And even
many gifts have died for premature exposure, because instead of them to sit on it, develop it, hone it, research more into it, read about it, practice it, and make your mistakes in private. Because when you rush to put yourself out there, you are inviting the whole world to participate in your errors, participate in your mistake. And because the internet is not a very personable space, it is unforgiving. Yes, it's unforgiving. And criticism can be very, very corrosive and harsh. And that can kill one's initiative. So it's important that, in as much as there's a hunger to do things, there is the quest, to do stuff. We must learn the quality of building in silence, building in private, allowing the thing to be brooded upon until such a time where it begins to grow, from the brooding, it takes root. When it takes root and it becomes exposed, it will survive. But when it becomes exposed without taking root, like every seed, it will die.
Wow.
It will die. So it's important that they allow themselves the patience to take seed. See, Jesus Christ lived for 33 and a half years, right? From age 0 to 12 was with the parents. From 12 to 18, we didn't hear of him. Like 12 to 30, 18 years of silence, 18 years of brooding, 18 years of building and developing in private. And in 33 and a half years, he had finished executing. 2026 years down the line, we are still living in the impact
Mm.
of what he left behind in 3.5 years. For me, that is the principle. And if you check the scriptures carefully, Jesus Christ did not promote himself.
Mm.
Even when he started ministry, the Bible says that what? And fame of him
Mm.
was noised abroad. So as he was executing flawlessly, the people carried the news.
Mm.
The people carried the news. And it's important that we learn to be patient, to build, and to develop. And that's why I spoke about the timing for leadership.
Mm.
Yes, you may want to be out there to lead ABC. Meanwhile, the time hasn't yet come. So until then, build capacity.
Mm.
Read voraciously, read like you are mad,
Mm.
because everything, leadership is a trade in knowledge.
Mm.
You must know yourself. Spend time to know yourself. Spend time to know that sector where you have been appointed to lead. What are the key issues there? What are the problems and the challenges there? What are the solutions that can be preferred? Spend time to know what are the key issues. What issues matter to people in that sector of society, because that space of your leadership is your space of worship. Because as you lead according to the way God will have you lead, that is your worship.
Okay.
That is your worship. So when God told Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go that they may worship me. The word used, the Jewish word used, is the Hebrew word used is avodah.
Mm.
Avodah. So this that you are doing, leadership, mentorship, and all of that, it's worship.
Mm.
It constitutes part of your worship. And if you look at yourself, God has taken you through a journey even in student leadership and all that. And through that journey, you have learned, you have developed capacity. You are still in school
Preparation has
preparing.
gone on.
You've
We
done
are
your
still
undergrad, you've
preparing.
done your master's, you are still pursuing further education, because you need to build more capacity to be able to execute that form of worship, so that when the master looks at it, it will be pleasing to his sight.
Okay, so has visibility become a blessing or a curse in our 21st century?
Visibility is both a blessing and a curse.
Okay.
For those who are prepared, it's a blessing. For those who are not prepared and have been prematurely exposed, it's become a curse. And there are people who will never forgive them for the challenges, for the errors that they made due to lack of preparation.
Wow.
Yeah, so you must determine whether you want visibility to be a blessing to you or a curse to you.
Wow. Okay, so on this note, I want to ask that how can a woman lead with confidence? With my journey, as you cited, I realized that a lot of young women or even women in positions are very skillful, talented, but most of them don't have the confidence. And because of that, because the confidence is not there, a lot lead and they lead in errors.
Yeah.
They lead making mistakes. They lead listening to a lot of advices that makes them not to focus on what they are doing. So as somebody that you have delved much when it comes to leadership, how can a young woman listening to us or a woman in leadership listening to us build confidence in the spaces where they are consistently underestimated?
Okay. The best leader I've experienced that far in my 40-year journey is a woman, Mrs. Uzwamaka Ejarikumi, my first boss. Fantastic woman. And the reason why she's that fantastic was because she had capacity and she had empathy. So you had a fine balance.
Empathy.
Yes, a fine balance of compassion with solid capacity, solid intellectual capacity. And she's the best leader I've ever had. But she was like that because what? She prepared. She spent time to build that capacity. See, confidence cannot be empty. That is foolishness. Your confidence must have a foundation. And the foundation that your confidence needs is one, an identity. Who are you? who are you as a young lady, as a person? 2, what do you know? And 3, where are you going? Your vision. Where are you going? These 3. And so,
Who are you?
who
What
are
do
you?
you
What do
know?
you know?
And
And
where
where
are you going?
You know, and every young lady or every young person listening to us must answer these 3 questions. And when you have answered these 3 questions, you realize that all your insecurities and all your lack of confidence, everything, it will die out or die off. Because see, the question of who you are is or the question of identity queries your source. Queries your source. For example, I don't think there's any space or any person that I can stand before and feel inadequate. Why? Jesus died for me. I mean, he paid with his life that I would live. All right.
Yes.
And then he gave me an assignment. He gave me an assignment. He gave me a purpose. And he's exposed that to me. He's revealed it to me. And in addition to that, by his grace and his mercy, I have spent time reading, researching, and building around what it is about. So I don't find myself in any space and then feel little. Why? I know who I am and I know the price that was paid for my life. I know that, you know, and nobody can present anything to me better than that price, you know, and I know what he wants me to do, what he wants to achieve with my life on earth. And by his grace and his mercy, I've been able to spend some time building the knowledge base that is needed for it. Because of that, I am confident. So your confidence will be derived from this. But there's an error that has happened, particularly in most African societies. God created the society and he created marriage as a basic unit for the society. In that unit, God, determined by his sovereignty that headship will be male. So he made the man the head of the household, and that is where it ends. People have extended this to the workplace, extended this to the academic spaces, extended this to the society in general, which is an error. It is only in the home that the head of the home is the man.
So your boss is not your head. As a woman.
As a woman, you can be the boss in the job, at the job place or at the workplace. Yes, in the workplace. In the school or academic environment, the woman can be the head of the institution everywhere. And that's why I'm glad we are at a place where Ghana's first female vice chancellor was achieved. That is in Professor Jenna Nopokwajima, that she as a woman could also lead the entire institution. But when she goes back home, her husband is the head. So we must not extend that domestic arrangement for the family to the rest of the society. That is the error. And that is where you will find a lot of obstacles everywhere trying to push the woman down. So as a young lady, if any random man or male tells you I'm your head, that is an error. And you must correct him right there.
Okay.
The only person that he is head to is his wife. So on this show, you are the head, you are the host.
Yes.
You are the head here. The producer is the head of production, and that can be a female as well.
Okay.
But when I get home, I am the head of my home.
So you think this structure has killed some confidence in women?
It has been abused, and that abuse has created a situation where most young women do not have the necessary confidence that needs, because they think that even where they find themselves, they should be secondary and not first. But that is not what it's supposed to be. Why? The price Jesus paid for me is the same price he paid for you. And that is why it is only he who could determine that even for the home, the male must be head.
Okay.
And he did not establish that in any other space or sphere.
Okay.
So every young woman should know that they can also lead. The most important thing is to make sure that they have the capacity. And when you have the capacity, it is only a matter of time and everybody will recognize it, because you become a solution to many problems. And once you are solving the problems, you are relevant. then you cannot be pushed aside.
Okay. And so a young woman listening to us, a woman in leadership also listening to us, you have to know that your confidence is in the God you serve or you know. And again, is in your preparation. And so if you are a woman that lacks confidence, it tells that you are still under preparation. Maybe you are still not ready
Mhm.
to be out there.
Yes.
And so we should learn how to hide, prepare well before we come out so that the confidence will be there. Because what is leadership without confidence?
Yes. And in building that confidence, start taking baby steps.
Mm,
Let's say you are in school,
okay.
some committee is being formed, join
Okay.
and do something.
Okay.
You see, the more you do, the better you get.
So you
the-
have to open up.
Open up
And be
yourself
joining-
and take opportunities.
Okay.
Open up yourself, take initiative.
Like course reps,
Course
class
rep,
reps,
sometimes even group leader, just a group in the class.
volunteering for-
Volunteer.
Hmm.
You know, you are on vacation for 3 weeks. Volunteer to a media house, to a production house like this, and say, I want to volunteer. What can I learn to do? Learn how to handle the camera.
Hmm.
Learn how to control sound. Learn how to set up. You see, the more you volunteer and you learn and you are able to do things, your confidence will naturally come. Okay?
Wow.
So volunteer, put yourself out there. That is the preparation I was talking about.
Hmm.
Yes, give yourself that opportunity. You realize that from group work, leading the group, you now gain the confidence from leading the group to leading the class.
Hmm.
From leading the class, you gain the confidence to now want to lead the department. From leading the department, you gain the confidence to now want to lead the entire school.
Wow.
And when you get there, you want to lead the entire school, you'll be confident because yes, you've led the group, you've led the class, you've led the department. And in all those spaces, you achieved something. So those
Okay.
achievements become your stepping stones and become your foundation for saying that I want to lead the entire school. You know, so open yourself up. Even at home, open yourself up. Take up initiatives at home. You know, every time you are young, you are 15, 17, when mommy and daddy are going out, they have to get an auntie to come and say that, mommy, don't worry, you go. I'll take responsibility for the home.
Hmm.
Yes, and do that confidently. And by the time you've done that 2, 3, 4 times, your parents naturally will now repose more confidence in
In
you.
you. Hmm.
But it will start from you saying that, oh, mommy, don't worry, I'll take care of my younger siblings.
So it's the petty things
Little
you
building
involve
blocks
and you engage
you
in
engage in.
kills of the
Yes. And whilst at it, be deliberate.
okay
Be deliberate
and
and-
intentional.
and intentional and learn the lessons.
Wow.
Learn the lessons. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. And I concur with the answer you gave
Mm.
because you know me and we didn't start here.
No.
It started from a small village in Kumasi where I contested for a campaign overseer.
Mm.
And I didn't even know how to talk.
Mhm.
I was shy to even stand in front of people because my background, it wasn't common there.
Then.
I kept on making the mistakes.
Mhm.
I went to the SHS university. I occupied the SRC secretary position.
Mhm.
It wasn't easy.
Mhm.
We made the mistakes,
Yes.
but we were still learning. It didn't end there. We went for the NUCs, we went for the USACs.
Mhm.
We served on the USACs. I think I served as an EC on
Okay.
one of the USAC boards.
Boards. Mm.
And then Bismarck Ekwamwa
Yes.
also appointed me on the education desk something.
Okay.
It didn't end there.
Mhm.
We started our masters. Then we contested for
Grasag.
GRASAC secretary,
Mhm.
national GRASAC secretary.
Secretary.
And today we are here.
Exactly.
So I believe that the preparation is important.
It is.
And you engaging, giving yourself to serve is also very, very important. On this note, I want to ask a question about self-doubt.
Mm.
We have some women who are in leadership And we have some young women who are coming up aspiring to lead. They are very confident, intelligent, excellent, but they lack self, they have problem with self-doubt. With self-doubt and confidence, how will you educate the young woman watching us and that woman in that office or in that leadership position or space that feels I'm competent, I'm excellent, but I lack,
I
I
can
am not good when it
enough.
comes, I'm not good enough. I have a problem with self-doubt. What will
I,
you
I,
tell them?
I think we need to understand that nobody is ever enough.
Mm.
Nobody.
Before then, what is self-doubt?
I think it is a phenomenon of not having confidence in what you possess, in your abilities.
Okay.
So the abilities are there.
Mm-hmm.
You have the capacity,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have confidence in that capacity.
So, what is competence and self doubt?
Okay. Competence is to define it loosely, the capacity to be able to execute well,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to execute well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you see, until you have executed, you will not know your capacity to be able to do it well. And that's why we
Okay.
talk about always putting yourself out there and doing something,
Mm.
So that self-doubt is the reason why you should start.
Wow.
You see, you don't believe it's there because you've not tried. You've not demonstrated it. You've not given yourself the opportunity to test it.
Mm.
But when you test it and it works, you're like, oh, okay, I could do it. I can do it after all. And that's why everybody must be bold.
Mm.
Yes, be daring. At worst, what will happen? You make a mistake. That mistake is the reason why you get the next one right. Because
Okay.
at the minimum, you would have learned how not to do it.
But if you don't do it at all, it
You will
means
not
that
know
you will
how
not
not to
make
do
them
it.
and correct them.
Exactly. So that is it. Now, I made a point earlier that none is perfect.
Mm.
And nobody can attain perfection.
Mm.
So there is that room for the extra, which is not within your power. And that is why we learn to depend on the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit. So
Okay.
I walk confidently to this podcast knowing that I don't know everything about leadership,
Okay.
but that I have access to the Holy Ghost that's omniscient,
Mm.
that knows all things, and can bring to my remembrance even that which I have learned and forgotten. And so that is the pivot of my confidence as well. Not that I came here knowing that I am the thesaurus or the almanac of leadership. No, not at all.
Mm.
So that's the bit also about identity.
Okay.
So if your sense of identity ends at you,
Mm.
you have nothing to fall on, you have no spiritual resource, you have no spiritual foundation, I don't think you can ever conquer self-doubt. And that is why a lot of people who don't have that spiritual foundation have mental health issues. You come to that point where your physical, intellectual capacity will hit its limit. And you know that you need something more. And that is why the Christian worldview says that there is a God who cares for you, who actually created you and is concerned about you.
Mm.
And he's available to help you in every time of need. In every time of need.
Okay, so this is the Leadership Podcast, and we are discussing or we are looking at leadership and identity today. And so you have spoken about self doubt. I've been thinking whilst you were giving the answer to the question I asked, and you kept on mentioning that self doubt, competence must be found in your foundation. That is Christ. Well, maybe a Muslim is also watching, or a traditionalist is also watching. I think we have to blend it a bit. But how can a capable woman, very capable, competence, have self doubt, have a problem with self doubt?
because of, again, the lack of knowledge of whom or who she belongs to. You
Whom
see,
you are.
whom you are, and that is connected to where you are coming from.
Mm,
You know, we've all met people who flaunt their weight out there, only to
mm,
realize that it's either a child of a politician or a chief or
mm.
some prominent figure or something.
Okay.
Do you get it? So you see, nobody is an island.
Mm,
And so the reason why I always speak about the Christocentric worldview,
mm.
because it is the only worldview that is premised on a
There.
relationship.
Mm,
So it is because it is premised on relationship,
mm,
you have a God of love who loves you. He's a God of love and he loves you and expects that you return that love because he
back.
has first loved you.
Wow.
And that is why it becomes a solid foundation for you, so that no matter where you find yourself and what circumstance you find yourself, you know that there is a God who loves you.
Mm,
There are people who grew up with their parents abusing them.
mm. And so they
What
have that mentality of abuse, and they
abuse,
think they
and
have to, like,
they are not
anybody
good
that comes
enough.
to their life, that person must experience that kind of
That kind of
abuse.
abuse. Some too, that abuse has left a void, and they are
Mm,
looking to fill that void with other human beings.
okay.
You get it? But it is
Yeah.
only the one who knew you before you were in your mother's womb who
Mm,
can fill that void. And that is why Christ becomes such a strong pivot for any and everybody, particularly for your leadership adventure, as a woman.
okay. So we are still on the women in leadership
Yes.
and young women
in
who
leadership.
are aspiring to lead, to impact their world. I want to ask the question on executive presence
Mm.
when it comes to pray. We women and presence. And so how can a young woman or a lady or a woman in leadership
Mm.
develop executive presence and confidence before entering major leadership space?
High moral standard.
How?
High moral standard. Our society tends to preach compromise to women.
Yes.
You're a woman, so tone down. You're a woman,
You are doing
so
a lot.
you're doing too much, and all of that. No, do it with integrity,
Mm,
and that integrity will be the reason why you'll be respected. That when you show up, just the sight of you alone will communicate far beyond your physical appearance.
mm,
You get it? I will speak to this. I have met in my journey a lot of fantastic young ladies
mm,
who allowed sexual indulgence to kill their fire. A lot of them. And it happened like that because, we have a very predatory sexual culture, particularly in leadership in Ghana. At the workplace, you have particularly male bosses who are seeking to take sexual advantage of young women. In the school, you have some male teachers who are seeking to take advantage sexually of the young girls. Even in church, in some churches, and then generally at the office and in society and all of that. So it's created such a
now it's even common.
it's so common. And because of that, by the time a young person, a young lady rises to a place of significance, so much water has gone down the drain that it takes out of the identity.
So much water.
Yes. It takes out of the identity. It takes out of their self-esteem.
Confidence.
So their confidence dies. And so when they stand, even by their posture, and you see, there's also this thing, I think we call it aura. You see, it is intangible, yet it can be felt. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is from your very innate being. You can't act it. And that is why I say that for every young lady watching, make your purity a high price and defend it with everything in you. And you realize that your confidence will be over the roof. And when you stand, the presence that you would have with you, because see, that purity now creates a certain aura, because it allows the Holy Spirit to envelop you with so
Okay.
much glory
Mm.
that it doesn't matter whether you have makeup on or not. It is attractive. It has
Wow.
presence. It has resonance. People can perceive it. People can perceive it. So don't allow yourself to be toyed with sexually. I think it is the most important thing we can tell any young lady out there. Guard your purity and guard it with everything. And you realize it will be your biggest launch pad to sustain presence. Sustain presence,
Presence.
not a fleeting presence.
Mm.
We have young ladies who have taken the path of compromise, and they all of a sudden they shut up, trend culture, and we're everywhere. Today, where are they?
Nowhere to be
You know,
found.
we can mention names, flaunting their sexuality all over on social media. Today, they are nowhere to be found. That is not what will give you that value. What will give you that value is the price you give yourself. And the highest price you can give yourself is your purity. And by that, when you ultimately get there, you have that sustained presence, because it will be built grounded on a foundation that is pure. That is pure.
Okay. Thank you very much
That's a pleasure.
for this answer, because I know that when it comes to leadership and presence, is very important. There is no leadership without presence.
No.
Every leadership carries presence.
Yeah.
At times, even your presence even speaks before they hear from you. And I've realized it's a problem, especially when it comes to women or when it comes to young women. I'm not saying the men are not facing it. They are facing it. But our focus is on
It's on the
women
young
in
women.
leadership
Yes.
and young women who are aspiring to lead and impact their world.
Yes. Let me put this in.
Okay.
Have you realized that most young women or most women who politically rise,
Okay.
what takes them down is sexual immorality, exposure, sexual scandals,
Very true.
sexual scandals.
It
And
kills their
it
confidence.
kills everything, one nude picture.
And it will tarnish your image forever.
So you see, sometimes you have all manner of ideas and all manner of opinions out there. I can assure you, it's not true. Purity is your biggest defense. But that is also not to say that if maybe at this time you are listening to us, you are like 23, you are already sexually exposed, there's no hope for you.
Yes.
If you would genuinely repent and withdraw back to your maker, he has a way of molding you and making you anew. And that past will have nothing on you when he puts you out there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Courage Nobi. And because we are looking at leadership and identity, I want to ask my last but one question, and it's on emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. When it comes to the young woman, or when it comes to the woman in leadership or women in leadership, how important do you think emotional intelligence should be valued when it comes to leadership?
I think it is very, very important. And it is important because you are expected to do what we call executive function. Executive function is not gendered. And executive function does not, it's not weakness, per se. So it is important that you are able to function critically and analytically.
Okay.
Because of that, you would have to learn how to keep your emotions under control so that you are not always reacting, but you are responding.
Okay.
Reacting is without forethought. The thing just happens, bah, you blare out.
Because of anger.
You
You say
well,
something
no.
to make you feel comfortable.
So we normally say that reason is our check on our instinctive judgment.
Mm.
That you pause long enough, subject the thing to critical thinking, then you'll be able to give an appropriate response. You know, so that is key. 2, you must also have, again, it comes back to that thing, be so assured in your identity that you don't need to respond to
Identity.
everything. Yes.
But Mr. Nobi, it's very difficult when it comes to you not responding to anything, because some people are very intentional about the kind of things they do. We have some people, it's their plan or it's their focus to make sure you have a problem when it comes to your identity. And so even in the political world or the political space, you find some people targeting or focusing on somebody's identity, and theirs is to make sure they
Destroy
or
it,
they destroy
bastardize it.
that person's identity for that person not to get to where she wants to get to. And so I'm very interested when it comes to the identity part. With the emotional intelligence, I want you to speak more to it. What somebody is trying to tarnish my image, somebody is focusing on destroying me, and you said I should keep quiet, I shouldn't talk about. How can a young woman who is aspiring to lead do or dance around such a statement?
Image damage and control. You see, it's again connected to what we discussed earlier. You must conduct yourself such that, I have a motto.
Okay.
Let them say, but don't let it be true.
Okay. Let them say, but don't let it be true.
You're a married woman.
Yes.
I'm a married man.
A proud one.
Anybody out there can just look at this podcast, go on social media, pick our pictures, merge it together in a malicious manner to try and create an impression that there is some illegal sex happening between us. Illegal because sex outside of marriage is wrong.
It's prohibited.
Good. All right?
Yes.
You know why I'll not be worried?
Why?
There's no truth to it.
Yes.
But if there has been any form
of truth
in it, then I'll be worried.
You'll be emotionally drained.
So your integrity is your best defense. Your integrity.
It's your best defense.
Your best defense. How you live your life. And that is why it's important that you observe purity as a young woman. Observe it. Now, when the lie is told, it is like someone who is pregnant with wind. Yes.
Yes.
It will deliver and it will be nothing. It will be nothing. And so from that, everybody will know the truth. You see, and you will not always have the opportunity
to talk.
And
explain yourself.
So let your life and living do the defense. So that somebody who heard it where you were not there will say, no, it's not true. Is it Judith you are talking about? No. Why? Because the person knows you and knows your integrity, your morals, what you stand for. So they can defend you even in your absence when you don't even know what has been said. You get it? So that life of integrity, that person who probably made sexual advantage, tried to take advantage of you sexually when you did your internship and you did not yield, will be the one who will protect you when that will be
very true.
You know, so that life of integrity, that life of purity, the life that prizes you, your being, is your number one defense. When it is like that, okay, we've all heard things said about us and we've laughed because there's no truth in it. But if you realize that this thing that they are saying, then
there
you
is
see
an
that
iota of truth.
Then you are jittery,
shaky.
Exactly. And all of that. So for me, I think if we are able to live a life of integrity, and you see that life of integrity means that you are secretly pure. It doesn't matter whether there are people present or not. You will not do it. You will not take what doesn't belong to you. You will not say what is not true. You will not speak ill of other people when you know it's not the fact. When something is true and you know it's true, you say it as such. When something is false, you know it's false, you say it as such. When your opinion is sought on a matter and you don't have any opinion, you say, I don't have any opinion. If you have one and it is informed, you share it. That life of secret purity is what will defend you.
Wow.
Many times, even in your absence.
Because there is a saying that secrecy is power.
It is power.
It's power.
However, I've seen a version of it on social media where they said that do it, but don't let the world see.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because see, my philosophy is that anything that you know, for example, I'm having a WhatsApp chat with you.
Yes.
Anything that, and I think yesterday at a conference, the Honorable Sam George said it best, that when you are sharing anything via the internet, make sure it is something that you can stand at your national stadium and share. So if you know that you cannot stand at the national stadium to share your nakedness,
then
don't share it in a WhatsApp chat with anybody.
And it's very true.
Yes, because that secrecy is not power. Anybody could hack into your chat and you see that it is out. And then you'll be embarrassed. Then you have mental health issues. Then the world will bash you because the society out there is unforgiving.
Very. Especially the one that we are in.
Exactly. So that the secrecy that is power is the secrecy of what? Purity.
Okay.
And integrity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is that one mindset you want any young woman watching us to unlearn to become a transformational leader?
If you can't beat them, join them.
Okay.
It is that the most detrimental mindset that you can have for a leader. A leader is always clothed with the capacity to create reality.
Okay.
So you can find yourself in a leadership context where the right thing is not popular. But if you assert yourself, you'll be able to change that where the right thing now becomes popular. And
yes.
the leaders we remember were those. We talk about Winston Churchill. It was because when everybody thought that the Second World War was lost, he believed that no, we can win this, and they won. When Kwame Nkrumah came down, in 1947, and they thought that the colonial power was so powerful that it would be impossible in the immediate time to overcome colonialism. He said, no, within the shortest now, not within the shortest possible time. Now we can do it now. And we were able to achieve it in 1957 within 10 years and to become the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence. So that belief in your capacity to cause change is the most important thing to hold on to. There's nothing like if you cannot beat them, join them, because most often the masses do not see as far as the leader sees. And that's why the leader is a trader in vision. There's so much you are seeing that if you join them, you will compromise the vision. So never join them. For example, I joined politics with ideals. I believe that politics should be about society's advancement and improvement. Only for me to realize that when I joined the New Patriotic Party, actively serving as a member of its national communications team and all, and its youth office, that the politics was more about self-serving than serving the society. And I said, no, this is not right. Self-centeredness. It's very selfish and wicked kind of politics. Where people want to be rich quick. They don't care about the number of people who die in the process.
Also.
Yes, and they don't care about the number of people who die in the process. Falsifying documents and all of that. I said, no, this is not right. And I boldly walked out to join the movement for change. I'll go on the journey with them for 15 months.
Is it a butterfly?
Yeah, that's what we call the butterfly movement.
Okay.
After 15 months of being on that project, after the election, I reflected upon how far we've come and where we are going. And I said, no, it is best for me at this time to exist as an independent political actor. And that is what I'm pursuing, because what? I'm not willing to sacrifice the values that sustain, the values that make me who I am. Do you understand? And I can assure you that in our lifetime, politics in this country will change.
Mm.
Why? Because I'm prepared and willing to do the right thing, not to join the wrong thing. So that mindset of if you cannot beat them, what? Join them, is what every young person must erase, particularly young ladies.
Mm.
Because you might come to a point where every young lady around you is compromising sexually. You go to do national service or internship somewhere, and every young lady is sleeping around. Are you also going to sleep around? No. Hold on to your integrity. Hold on to your purity. And that is where you will earn the respect of all the managers who are sleeping with the others, because they will know that you are a woman of value.
Mm. And I believe if we have a team not kowtowing to what they are demanding for, it will stop.
It will stop.
Because we are responding to it. That
Yes.
is why it keeps on happening.
But they know it's wrong.
They know.
I had a circumstance where a young, should I say, mentee of mine,
Mm.
had a supervisor make sexual advances at her.
Mm.
And it was most disappointing because this is a supervisor that, based on her academic interest, I recommended.
Wow. I hope that supervisor will not.
Oh no, I'll be glad if he sees this podcast, you know.
Supervisor, we beg. We
And
don't have-
when the person is no longer, this is over 5
Okay,
years
yeah.
old, so there's no opportunity.
It's just
When she told me about it, okay, I said, okay, are you happy? He said, no. So she's actually not been able to honor their last 2 appointments.
Mm.
I said, okay, open your email. Let's send him an email expressing your discomfort and unhappiness about what he's doing. Wrote a nice, powerful email, sent it to him. The next moment, the man was calling, because he knows that if he responds to the email,
It will be an
it's
evidence.
record. Even by not responding, that email being sent to him alone. So he knew that what he was doing was wrong.
Communicate something.
He's aware that what he's doing is wrong.
Mm.
Do you understand? He's aware.
Yes.
That's how she was saved from further sexual how do you call it?
Advances.
Advances or sexual abuse, because
Mm.
this is a lecturer-student relationship. It shouldn't happen. It is not appropriate to have that level of sexual relationship exist,
Mm.
you know. But if she said that, well, maybe this friend of mine is doing it, this one is doing it, so let me also do it. That's how she would have fallen prey to something that she didn't have to fall prey to.
Okay, so you have spoken about integrity, and you have really talked much about integrity here today. You have spoken about discipline. You have spoken about our foundation being our source, so that we will be able to overcome the self-doubt and
Yes.
also the incompetence that a lot of women manifest when they are given a position or they are given a space to operate. I want to ask you about your personal sacrifices in your leadership journey. What personal sacrifice have leadership demanded from you?
Leadership will demand your sleep. As far back as high school, and now I've, throughout my academic journey, been a leader at one point. And you realize that it puts so much responsibility on you
Okay.
that you need to sacrifice time
Okay.
in order to even meet up, you know, academically and all. And yet you need to also build leadership capacity.
Mm.
Yes, your leadership capacity. So I found myself sometimes at night reading the extracurricular books, the books that are non-SLA, you know, because I knew I needed it.
Mm.
You know, so as far back as high school, I was reading about emotional intelligence, I was reading about communication, you know, reading about organizing and all of that, because I needed that capacity. So in order to build that capacity, I had to sacrifice sleep. We say primus inter pares.
Mm.
The leader is first among equals. So that first is not just positional, it is also demonstrable capacity.
Wow.
You know, it's demonstrable capacity. So you have to sacrifice something to gain that first rank. And that, I believe, is your sleep. Even now, as a father and a husband, My leadership endeavors is taking so much, from me. Sometimes I'm sacrificing weekend out with the children. Have to come to Cape Coast for this weekend, which would have been a nice opportunity to be with the children. But leadership requires that I come and do a thing or two, including this podcast that we are having. So sacrifice is an inevitable part of leadership, and it will manifest depending on your leadership context in so many ways. But one thing I am sure that every leader sacrifices is your sleep. You can't be sleeping 8 hours a day and want to be a leader. You need to sacrifice part of that to invest in building capacity for yourself. Another sacrifice that you have to make is where you put your money. Yes, where you put your money.
So it's not always that you are asking for support.
What the followers pursue is not what you should be pursuing.
Okay.
Then you are the same level with them. There's no difference between the two of you. So somebody may spend the money buying an iPhone, but you will spend it attending a workshop, attending a seminar, okay?
To build capacity.
Signing up for a training program online. Do you get it?
Yes.
Because you need to build further capacity so you can lead those who are buying the iPhone. So where you put your money, what you do with your money, a certain level of prudence and frugality will be required of you so that you can invest. You see, you can invest in yourself. You can invest in yourself, because when you have spent money to put knowledge in yourself, that will then yield dividends in your leadership outcomes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your last word for that young woman who is leading, or that young woman in leadership who is frustrated, who is going through a lot of mental challenges and mental traumas, and that young student leader who is a woman who is trying to combine academic with leadership positions, finding it so overwhelming and exhausting? What is your last your advice and your last word for my audience?
As a young lady in leadership, I want you to know that you have inexhaustive potential. Press on amidst the frustrations, because it is the frustrations that build your fortitude, that build your capacity, that build your confidence for the next level. Press on knowing that you are more than capable, but in all things, you can do it through Christ who strengthens you. So make sure you have a solid spiritual foundation as a young leader, as a young lady, and your leadership journey will be nothing but fulfilling.
Thank you very much, Mr. Courage Nobi, for
Thank you, my sister,
coming to teach us, coming to help us, coming to enlighten us on leadership and identity. And I know that young woman watching us, that woman in leadership watching us, I know now you would know some one or two stuffs that wouldn't allow you to manifest in that incompetence, to manifest in that self-doubt, to know how to be strong with capacity as a leader and not kowtowing to what culture and society is demanding from the young woman. On this note, this is the Young Women's Leadership Fellowship Program. This is a talk show, the Leadership Talk Show, and we will be coming on your screen any and every time now. Follow us on all social media handles at Leadership Podcast, and you will be blessed. Bye-bye for now, and God bless you all. Thank you.